Hello, Courage to Change, October 5th. Here we go. Sometimes I become so bogged down with dissatisfaction that I can't see where I am or where I'm going. When I take time to think, I realize that negativity keeps my life at a standstill. Al-Anon has helped me discover that while it's good to acknowledge whatever I feel, I have a choice about where to focus my attention. I am challenged to find positive qualities in myself, my circumstances, and other human beings. As I attend meetings, list the things I am grateful for, and talk with other Al-Anon members, these attributes become apparent if I'm willing to see them. I believe I have a beautiful spirit that has been created for some purpose. The people and situations I encounter each day also have beauty and purpose. I can begin to look for the positive in everything I do and see. The perspective I've gained by doing so has shown me that some of the most difficult times of my life have produced the most wonderful changes. Today's reminder: it may be difficult to break a long established pattern of depression, doomsayings, and complaining, but it's worth the effort. I'll replace a negative attitude with a positive one today. I really like this reading. So many things cross my mind here. When I first got sober, I really was I was approached about my attitude, and then I got sober for a while, and then I got approached about my attitude, and suggested I go to Al-Anon. My attitude would flip around and change based on other people's moods and how other people were doing. Like my my thermostat, my my thermometer my thermometer, you know, up and down, the heat and the cold. Yeah, the thermometer of my life was being determined by other people's thermometer, like how everybody was doing around me. That got old. I was up and down, up and down, up and down. And, I really started to read, listen. I listened to a lot of Al Anon speakers on YouTube, and I really started to think about how I let people, you know, decide how I feel. Everybody, not just the people I live with, but the news, society, holidays. I was just, so I made some changes. When I got to Al I quit watching the news. I decided I was not going to watch the news. I was too affected. I also decided, I made a bunch of decisions about how I was going to, try to manage this, constantly, up and down, and not really know, if somebody asked me, how are you today? I don't know. How's my daughter? Then I'll tell you how I'm doing. How's this? How's that? How did I do on this project? And I really started to tune in with how I let things around me upset me. I'm really conscious now. Like even now, right now, I'm sitting here doing this with you, and I have a candle lit. I got this great candle, and it's like apple cider, and it reminds me of fall. And I'm in Southern California, so there's not really a fall here. It's just summer all year round. And a lot of I'm homesick for the Pacific Northwest. And so having that candle has just made me comfortable. It's made me happy. And, I do things that try to make me comfortable and happy. I just am it's so different than living. I don't know how to even explain it. I was living out here and affected. I was just affected constantly, 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 constantly. And now I'm much more you know, I did a meditation once. I don't even know if this is making sense. Does this make sense to you? I did a meditation once, and this woman said to me, you have the control volume. You get to decide how loud things are, how soft, who you're going to listen to, who you don't listen to. You actually can control that. And she did a thing with me where I had a bubble around me, and I had a bubble that was protecting me. And she decided how close the bubble could be, if it was out, if it was really far out. She just, I get to decide what information comes through that bubble to me and what I say out, right? And I get to control the volume of it. I get to decide to take some of it and not all of it, right? It has made a huge difference in my life. It's just easier for me. And I have found that when things bad happen, I'm protected in this bubble, and I never make a decision something's really bad. Some of the worst things that have ever happened to me have ended up being the very best. And some of the best things that I thought were happening ended up being the worst. So I've given up the idea that I know what's best for me. I just try to change my reaction to what's going on. And that bubble allows me some time in between my reaction, the event and the reaction. I want to respond to the appropriate, it used to be I would overreact to something that didn't need that much reaction. I ended up looking like a crazy person. So now this bubble, this sense of the knob, of the loud, the thickness of the bubble, I get to control all of that, right? And if things get too crazy, I got a car, I can get in the car and go home. I could shut the door. I can turn off the lights. I can light a candle. I can be quiet. I can ask God for some help, direct my thinking. You know what I mean? I've got a lot of tools today. So I'm not just being led around by my nose, and making decisions that something happened is terrible. Oh my God, that's terrible. Well, I don't know. Why don't I just wait a minute and see? Why don't I just wait? Why don't I see what God has in store? And it's just a big freaking relief. I'm not near as tired as I was. I was just exhausted. You know what I mean? And I was like in my 40s. I was like, Jesus Christ, how am I going to make it to 80? I'm beat. Life has kicked my ass. Well, I was letting it. So thank you, Al-Anon, for teaching me. I've got the control volume here. I've got the knob. I hope that made sense to someone. I love you all. Thanks.